Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking away from the one we're in now. You've tuned into a live tarot throw. Today is January 11th, 2026. Here's what's coming up on today's program. I got your tarotlogical forecast for the upcoming work week. Then we're going to break down the illusion of Santa Claus just a little bit. And then we're going to invite the tarot world to comment on my little 20-minute lecture. And following that, we'll do tarot for the audience. If you're interested and tuning in live and you'd like a tarot reading for the second part of the show, please type in the chat in all capital letters, tarot please, and we'll tell you more about how you can make your requests as the show goes along. But I'm quite sure you can't wait to see your tarotlogical forecast, and I can't wait to deliver it. So let's go to the tarot cam. All right, yesterday I busted out a different tarot deck, and it was a brand new deck, and I didn't want to unwrap it because I already had one that was unwrapped. And I'm really happy to share with you today what I call the light gold foil deck. It's called Gold Foil Tarot there. You missed it this morning when I opened up the box. There's a nice image on there. I wonder if I can get you to see it. Yeah, I think it's the full card. And then on the inside it says, I got to do better with the lights here. Hang on, everybody. It says, let's share the world of tarot. That's right. And the last word is happily. That sounds like a tarot-ish thing to say. Be happy about it. Read the cards. Find the silver lining. Turn it into something positive. And then check out this. I mean, here's the back of the card. But boy, they really went to great effort to provide this extra card in the deck, which I'm not going to read to you. I haven't read it yet myself. Don't recognize that image. But isn't it cool the way it shines? Yeah. Cool. And then here's this one. Well, I don't know which one of these two cards I like better. I don't even know what this card is for. Let me take a look. It says Gold Foil Tarot. Let's share the world of tarot. And then you see a child and some birds flying away. All right, great. So we're going to set this aside. And then in the interest of saving time, everybody, I have reshuffled the decks. So I'm going to take this light gold foil deck. I'm going to spread out 5 pairs of cards, a pair of cards for each day of the work week coming up. And then I'm going to go to the Robin Wood Tarot deck over here and draw an extra card as a prism through which to look at these adventures. So again, everything's shuffled. Everything's ready to go. Let's throw some cards. Here we go. The top card goes for Monday. The bottom of the deck goes for Friday. And now we cut and fan our way through the week. So let's fan. Here's one more for Monday. Here we go. 2 for Tuesday, please. A tarotlogical forecast. 5 action-packed days with fun, inspiring messages for everyone. Thank you, Tarot World, for giving us guidance on how to be our best selves as we go through the work week. Because every day and every week, we're inching closer to whatever that goal is. And I got to be honest, I'm not sure what the goal is either. But it sure is fun getting there. It's all about the journey, right? Let's get this deck aside. I'm going to get my lights correct here. Ugh. Hang on, everybody. I'm almost ready. I think I got that. I can do that. All right. And now, underneath the Organite Pyramid, I already have the Robin Wood deck shuffled. And we're going to draw from the top. And we're just going to use that as our prism to take a look at the rest of the deck. Wow. Okay. So everybody, we got the Hierophant. And I know I say this a lot, but it sure seems like an appropriate message today for today's lessons, because I'm going to be talking about society and the things that we learn. So we're going to leave this right here. And then let's flip our way through the week. Let's see what's going on. For Monday, our cards were, oh, how wonderful. We've got the 2 of Swords and we have the Page of Wands. The Two of Swords talks about being at a crossroads. Maybe you don't have all the information, but you're ready to make a decision. So you're sitting there like Qui-Gon Jinn. Is that the name of the Jedi from that #1 episode of the Star Wars movies? You're just kneeling and you're waiting for the force field to come down so you go back in action. I don't know if anyone, any science fiction fans out there are following me there. But then you've got the Page of Wands. It kind of goes along with the Two of Swords. You're waiting, but as soon as you have the information, you have unlimited perspective. I really like the way these cards look. Don't they look great? So let's read more about the Page of Wands very quickly, because there might be some words in the guidebook that give us some clues. So Page of Wands. The Page of Wands reads, you feel fresh, cheerful, childlike, and full of energy. Hey, everybody, that's a great way to feel every day, especially on a Monday, right? You are full of energy, cheerful, childlike, fresh. You have bright ideas and new exciting plans. You are being creative, free thinking, and fearless. I'm going to repeat the word, fearless. You are finding your passion, making discoveries, investments, or advancements in life. Just be careful not to rush into things without considering the consequences. Well, you should have no problem doing that because, again, you have a great perspective over everything. Well, let's get the lights right. You have a great perspective over everything. You could see forever. So you can watch out for potholes and problems and obstacles. All right, you're all set to go for the work week. Next up, wow, you have the Fool and the High Priestess. The Fool talks about a new beginning and having optimism, spontaneous optimism. Again, really being super positive, looking at the silver lining on that gray cloud. But then you have, check that out. I mean, as long as if you're going to be like the Fool and have spontaneous optimism, it's good to have the High Priestess in your back pocket because that lady has good reason to be optimistic and have a great attitude because she knows about magic. She knows about the world beyond our eyeballs and beyond the media. She's talking about higher spiritual understanding. And having said all that, it makes me want to read about the High Priestess. So let's get the book. Look, we got two learned people. I'm going to move this card down here. Can we see that better? There we go. We've got two learned people here. The one who studies the world around us and understands it and creates society, the Hierophant, and then the one who's like behind the scenes, the occult master, the High Priestess. Again, let's go to the book. The High Priestess, you have hidden mysteries, spiritual insight, and divine knowledge. Now is the time to be still so you can tune into your intuition. You have the opportunity to access the knowledge deep within your soul. You hold the answers to the deep unknowns. Let what is hidden come to the surface. Trust your inner instincts to guide you. This guy only gets you so far. Okay? This guy only gets you so far. The Hierophant, if you can master what he knows and what he presents to you, you might have a great life. But if you master what the High Priestess has to offer, in that case, you could have a great soul and a great life after life after life. All right, you're going to have that balance. All right, anyway, let's move on. Wednesday. These are some really great cards here. Six of Cups and Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is the practical working parent, and the Six of Pentacles talks about creating happy memories. So, hey, I don't know why this thought came to my mind, and I don't care how old anyone is, but I'm thinking to myself, next time you're in the meeting, you have a meeting with everyone on the staff or what have you, everyone on the team is there, and you have the outlook. We can make this situation good. We could create happy memories, and at the same time, instead of being like the petulant wide receiver claiming that he's open and you need to throw him the ball, you could be like the Queen of Pentacles and say we have to be like, the Queen of Pentacles would be the offensive coordinator perhaps on the football team, the American football team. She knows what's practical. She's organizing all the team, and she you know, she's presenting her ideas in a calm, measured way. You know, she's not going to, I mean, we don't have a 5 of Wands here, but she's not going to participate with the 5 of Wands guys, the guys that always want to find problems and, you know, they don't really have answers and solutions. So here you are on Wednesday, you're probably being dressed up and positioned to be a hero just by your composure and your eye on what the goal is for everybody. Okay. You're trying to float everyone's boat. Good for you. Next up. Okay. So we have the Magician and we have the 5 of Cups. The 5 of Cups represents disappointment. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to learn, you know, my own lingo, my own lexicon of the tarot world. Sometimes the 5 of Cups represents, you know, someone passing from the earthly plane to heaven. Sometimes it makes me think of death. You'd have to go see my Giordano Bruno video and my Kurt Cobain video to know what I'm talking about. But look at the balance here. Someone is disappointed, but how powerful is the Magician? This is like not even like a big deal. There's always disappointments. Nothing goes according to plan. Isn't that part of the fun? Isn't that what Marcus Aurelius would say, is that, you know, the obstacle becomes the path. So if the cups are on the ground in front of you, turn around, grab the cups that are still standing up and go make magic somewhere. Always have a positive attitude. That's what the Magician's doing, because the Magician knows he can transpose whatever that pain was into something wonderful and magical. Am I not doing good with the lights here? Oh, that's right. I broke the light the other day. Okay, I got to take it easy. All right, that's a little bit better. Anyway, here we are on Friday. This is a commercial for my STARCARD podcast. Look, everybody, on Friday, we got the STARCARD. We are rejuvenated. We got both worlds going on, right? We were talking about the Hierophant being, you know, the one-time show, the flash in the pan. You know, if you can master this lifetime, that's great. You still got a soul and you got to come back a bunch of times, perhaps. That's why the High Priestess is important. But here you go. At the end of the week, you've been so balanced. You've been so balanced, trying to like pour water both on earth and into the ocean there, or what have you. Oh, sorry about that, YouTube. Hang on. Here we go. So, but then you end up as the Empress, male or female. You're sitting pretty like the Empress. You know, everything's under control. There's abundance that you can share. These messages really seem like they're coordinated. Okay. We're starting the work week. We don't know what's ahead of us. And we've got nothing to worry about, because once the information comes in, we're ready to go. In fact, we're learning about our spiritual side and our ability to create magic every day. So even on Tuesday, in the thick of the work week, it's getting good because we got secret powers that we are unveiling. Okay. In fact, by Wednesday, we are so positive and motivated that it's infectious and it's being shared with everyone in the workplace. Then some kind of disappointment comes along, and whether it's yourself or other people who followed your example, everyone just turn it around into something positive. And we're building on whatever that disappointment was. And then by the end of the work week, we're in a better position than we were in before. And we're feeling rejuvenated. You know, I want to read about the star card. I'm going to take this opportunity right now. The Star. You are likely to find yourself feeling inspired. You have renewed hope and faith and a sense of being truly blessed by the universe. You are entering a peaceful, loving phase in your life, filled with calm energy and personal growth. How about that? That's a good way to feel when you're heading into the weekend. Okay. And again, where do we see the Queen of Pentacles? Where was that lady? Right. So you were the Queen of Pentacles in the middle of the week, and then you got promoted emotionally, spiritually, maybe even by your peers and your family, to the Empress, because everyone can see, you know, you're a good vibration to hang out with. Everyone wants to ride your coattails. Keep up the good work. Have a great work week, everybody. There's your Tarotlogical forecast. I'm going to give these a shuffle. Thank you, Tarot World, for another lovely message. Here we go. These things are more or less brand new, and they are very viscous. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but they slip around a lot. Whoa. All right, let's get these aside for now. And then going to have to throw the Hierophant back in there. So let's give these a toss. I'm going to say thanks to everyone who's tuning in live. And of course, thanks to everyone who watches the recording later. I get to enjoy your company and your energy, even in a recording. So, I mean, that's not a dynamic I ever expected to go through or experience before. I appreciate, your participation so much, even if you're just listening while you're driving a car or doing laundry or something like that. So I appreciate it because, evidently I've got a lot to say. So let's go to my notes real quick and see what's going on. Oh, wait. Oh, I didn't show you the decks that are in play, right? So there's some people watching right now, and I just want people to know what decks are available in case they want to request it. So let's go back downstairs and check out the decks. I know I made a list of them in the chat, but that's not the same as seeing the boxes. All right, so we've already seen the Robin Wood Tarot. This is the dark version of the gold foil deck. Here's one of my very favorite decks right now, the Ethereal Bloom Tarot. It's still in the box right now. Here again is that box to the light foil tarot that we're sharing today. Here is the trusty classic tarot cards that have the words on them. They give us a lot of precise information. We have the Giant Mermaid Tarot. Hang on a second. We have the Giant Mermaid Tarot deck. We have the 88 gemstones that we showed everybody yesterday. That's a fun deck. You see we have the stained glass deck, the neon deck, the Lost Soul Tarot, and the Old Style Tarot. All right, so we're going to move these out of the way. Okay, and I'm going to come back upstairs. And of course, I've got notes. I'll be referring to my notes, so I save time and I don't miss anything. A little bit high there. Here we go. All right, let me check my notes. I'm almost ready, everybody. I'm just going over my notes. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. You may know that my birthday is on Christmas Day. In any case, that has only like a very little bit to do with what I have to say today, because I do want to talk about Santa Claus. We often think about Santa Claus during the Christmas Day holidays. Sometimes in the workplace, you have a little activity called Secret Santa. And what I want to focus on, first of all, is the idea of a parent. I'd like to tell you a story, and I'd like you to follow along with the story so I could illustrate my example, right? So you have a parent or two parents, right? And they are very good about Christmas. They're big Christmas people. Let me interrupt myself. Now, I know that people are not allowed to watch this video because of the settings I check off. You have to be 18 years old or older. So you have to be an adult to watch this video. So I'm now going to talk about Santa in a way I would not talk about Santa in front of children, someone under the age of 18. I'm not worried about it. Again, there should be no children watching. I'm not going to spoil it for any children. Okay, so hey, grown-ups, here we go. Let's go back to the story. So I'm going to pretend like this is my story, just to make it easy with my first-person narrator. So I have this parent, and this parent was very good with Christmas, always remembering my birthday at the same time and always decorating the house. And my parent never let up. As you could imagine, right? Someone who's as, what do they call it, headstrong as I am, okay? My parent would never give up the ghost on how Santa Claus delivered his gifts to the house. But then as I grew older, I figured out things little by little, right? So by the time I was in my teens, I figured out that my parent was actually wrapping gifts and putting a tag on it saying from Santa, okay? Then by the time I was in my 20s, we were still talking about Santa, but it was becoming more difficult for my parent to hold up the facade of what was going on, because my parent kept on, providing gifts as if the parent was Santa Claus. Imagine that. And then things got harder for my parent because, there were financial issues and my parent had some health issues. Nevertheless, the one thing that kept my parent going was keeping that Santa story going. So even as she was getting into her 70s and 80s and she was infirm, I mean, you could be a healthy 70, 80, 90. I know I got people in my family live to their 90s and they were just fine, right? So anyway, but as this particular parent aged in my imaginary story here, when she was like in her 80s, she was infirm, but the only thing that kept her going was, Santa. So at some point during my lifetime, I was actually buying the gifts because I had the money. And then I would wrap the gifts and then I would leave a note as if I was an elf. And I would say, dear parent, Santa want to make sure that you kept your Christmas festivities going and we have provided these gifts so you could pass them out. So I was wrapping and presenting gifts as if I was an elf, delivering to my parent who would present them as if Santa delivered the gifts. It was a lot of work, but it was worth it to keep my parent going for so long. All right. Thanks for following along. It feels like, right? It feels like the younger person in the story, me, right, the child, really worked much, much, much harder at keeping the Santa thing going for the benefit of the parent, right? And we did it out of love. Okay, so now I'm going to share another aspect of Santa Claus. I don't claim to be an expert on cultures around the world, although when I'm in an elementary school classroom, I'm a little bit more of an expert than the students in the room, just because I've been around on the planet longer. So if I got this information straight, which I got, decades ago, I understand that in the country of Japan, they're very big on gift giving. And even though Japan is not historically a Christian country, the idea of Santa Claus really appealed to people in Japan. And so I've never been to Japan. I've never been to Japan during the holiday season that we have here in the United States, for example. But I understand that it's just as big over there as it is over here. And since I'm in the Los Angeles area, let me add to that, okay, add a little depth to my comparison to what's going on in Japan. Out here in Los Angeles, we have the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Congratulations to the Dodgers. And we have, well, I say we. The Los Angeles Dodgers have some really wonderful baseball players on their team, including Shohei Ohtani. He's Babe Ruth combined with Barry Bonds. He's really an all-timer. If you ever get a chance to watch Shohei play, even if it's just highlights, I recommend that you do it. But the point is, over in Japan, and I know this because I have friends who have been to Japan and they come back and they tell me about it. It's like all Shohei everywhere, all LA Dodger stuff everywhere. And I say justifiably so. The guy is fantastic. But anyway, back to Japan, Santa Claus apparently may be a big thing over there, gift giving. So even a country like Japan that's not historically Christian, they might feel a little bit of the pressure in society, like you might, well, let me turn it to me, like I might, in the days when I was in the workplace and they might have an activity called Secret Santa, where you have to buy gifts for people, right? Well, I understand in Japan, like gift giving is like a big deal. So you might feel some pressure, the holiday season is coming up. We got to get some gifts for some people. That might be like a regular thing. Go back to my story of my parent, right? My imaginary story about my parent who clearly felt pressure to make sure that there were gifts on Christmas Day. Okay, I'd like to go back to my notes now and check and see what the next part of my story is. All right, so very quickly, I'll just talk about my own birthday. People always ask, hey, Breakaway Ray, your birthday's on Christmas. Do you get 2 presents? And I'll just say not always. And it doesn't really matter at this point. And for a long time, it didn't. And I'm not sure it ever did. But what is important is like when people remember your birthday. I mean, it's hard to forget, when you know someone whose birthday is a holiday, that holiday should ring a bell. And then that's like the gift for me. Like if someone can remember that it's my birthday, then that's great. I can count on that person I know about. If I get a call and it's not just like a Merry Christmas, okay, it's a happy birthday, that I'm down with that person. Makes it hard for me though. I feel so bad for, the other the people who are born on the other 364 days of the year. It's really hard for me to remember their birthdays. I got friends, I'm sure they hate it because like I'm always like sending them a text because I can never remember when their birthday is, especially like if their birthday is in January. I'm like sending them texts on the 6th and on the 13th and on the 15th, hoping I'm getting the right day. And anyway, let me move on now. Presents, not so important. We're talking about illusion and keeping the story going and keeping the theme going. It's a holiday theme. There's gift giving involved. I invite you to check out Psychic Liz Cross did a video recently where she didn't just do Krampus, and I'm not sure I listened to that one, but she did, I think it was St. Nicholas. Yeah, she did St. Nicholas. That was in December. You could check it out. And the most important part was not just being a gift giver, but remembering those who need help, being charitable, giving those kinds of gifts. Not just during the holiday season, obviously, but especially during the holiday season. All right, so now I'd like to talk about when you go on a cruise. I've never been on a cruise, but when you go on a cruise, or maybe you're at a summer camp or some kind of club for a vacation, a lot of times they have themes for the day or themes for the area. Like when you go to an amusement park, there's certain areas that have certain themes. So while you're in that part of the amusement park or while you're enjoying that week at summer camp or what have you, you're participating in a theme. Everyone's pretending and everyone's going along with it. That's the way it's going to be. And isn't that what culture really is? I mean, we're talking about culture on a minuscule scale. It's summer camp. It's Hawaii week. Everyone wear Hawaiian clothes on Friday. Okay. Meanwhile, in a grander way, hey, everybody, we have a constitution here in the United States. We're going to follow it. And I'm making light of the Constitution, but really the Constitution we want to support because it has good laws and a good framework. And we want the Constitution to work. If the Constitution doesn't work, what does that say about everything that's based on the rules we say we follow in the Constitution? Wow, I just got totally off on a political tangent. Sorry about that, everybody. So let me make sure I stay to my notes here. Yeah, I got that part good. All right. So now I want to share with you a couple of stories that I learned from Dolores Cannon. I was reading Dolores Cannon books back in 2017 and 2018. One of the very first stories that she shared, so in case you're not familiar with Dolores Cannon, famous hypnotherapist, if you type in QHHT, she should come up, but she'll put people into a trance and then she'll call forward previous lifetimes that these people have had. So one time she had a client under hypnosis in a trance, and this client explained that, the client was a reptilian creature, probably like a lizard, and the lizard was in a canyon, but the lizard was the only lizard in the canyon. There were no other lizards there, but every once in a while, there might be some other creatures that show up in the canyon, and the lizard creature could tell that, it was being provided for somehow because it was all just a big rocky canyon and it's not like food was easy to come by, but he was always provided for. And then it turns out at the end of the story that, the little twist is the whole time the lizard was in a terrarium or in a terrarium of sorts. And what happened was, to add to that story, the people who put the lizard in the terrarium, they felt bad because the other lizards didn't make it. And so the poor lizard was by itself. And so the beings that put the lizard in the terrarium went out of their way to make this lizard comfortable during its lifetime in the terrarium, dropping friends in there, making sure that there was food in there or what have you. So in lots of ways, it sounds like the people, the gods, the beings that put the lizard in the terrarium, in lots of ways, they were acting like spirit guides, making sure that the universe always provided for that lizard. Okay, there was another story from the Dolores Cannon books. She has 5 Convoluted Universe books. Anyway, this story, how am I doing on time? Ooh, I'm going long again. Sorry, everybody. All right, but this story, it talks about a creature, a being, it's like a person maybe slightly mechanized, okay, living a long time and living down on a planet that's very harsh and it's hostile and it's hard to live there. And this person who lives on this planet knows that it can communicate with beings in spaceships that can help it. But it's hard to get through because of the atmosphere. And so like you can only like send messages at certain intervals, perhaps. It's very hard to communicate with the beings up in the spaceships, perhaps, whoever the providers are. Anyway, it turns out to be a long, rough life for this character. And then when this character finally passes away somehow, we find out that its soul, or a little tiny part of a soul, was actually part of the scientist who created it and put it down on that planet. In other words, perhaps that scientist up in the spaceship was a human, unfit to live on the planet down below biologically, created an avatar to go live on that planet, put some of his consciousness in there so that he could monitor what was going on. And then when that creature passed away, that bit of consciousness returned to his head, and then that scientist could go about his business organizing how to improve the avatar and what next to do as far as exploiting the planet below, if that was the plan. All right, so the message I have from these stories, these two, is, if you change your perception a little bit, you change what you look for, you're also going to change what you see. I'm not saying anything super, no one's going to quote me on this. I think someone quoted Walt Whitman a couple of days ago in the chat, right? You change the way you look at things, you're going to change the way you see things. And really, there's so much to look at, you really have to pick out what you want to look at. When you go to bed tonight, what do you want to remember that you saw? So now, those are a bunch of examples. I'm not picking on Santa Claus. I'm all down with Santa Claus, okay? Santa is cool, but now I'm going to stretch it out a little bit here. There it is. I'm going to give the guy credit. There is a show called My Lunch Break where the narrator picks apart the stories that we all live with, that cover up the fact that there was obviously a very highly advanced civilization, probably hundreds of them, before the 1800s. And all of that stuff is being hidden and erased, literally erased. There was a video put out recently by Old World Exploration. I think I've got So as far as Old World Exploration goes, I know I've got the video he did on Buffalo, New York in the description in the links today. I also have, by the way, if you want to explore this more, there should be a Howdy McCoskey video where he talks about the fires of the 1800s and he asks some good questions. Okay. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. There was something going on and we don't know about it. All right. But we nevertheless have this story, just for example, like, all these marvelous old world buildings, the state capitals, the courthouses around the world, especially here in the United States. The story goes, well, there used to be one courthouse on this site, but it burned down. So in 1 year, they put up this gigantic castle made of stone. And now, going back to My Lunch Break, the fella at My Lunch Break and his team have discovered that there's a master list of all the buildings in the United States where all the documents, architectural drawings, load-bearing computations, all that stuff is supposed to be located. And according to this master list, all these old world buildings that we're talking about, they don't even have any documents. So he was a little bit tough yesterday in his program at My Lunch Break saying, he's getting on teachers' cases because teachers like me, okay, we would teach this stuff without asking any questions about, is this true? Can we verify this? I would say, the guy makes a good point, okay? But I don't think it's the teacher's responsibility in the classroom. That's rather hard to do, or it certainly was up until 2026. As a teacher, you're going to night school, you're working a job, you're raising a family, you're just trying to get a credential. And in those days, there wasn't really an internet to research every little thing. I think I shared in the book that you can't see over my shoulder over here. You see the one called Let's Go Off Planet with Breakaway Ray. It's also listed in the description with the other one. Where is it? There it is. The Convoluted Autobiography. And in that book, I talk about a time in the 1990s when a student called me on a book about the state capitals and how all the state capitals were built by slaves and prisoners, and they were all drawn by people winning contests, blah, blah, blah. You could go see My Lunch Break. All right. So obviously, I feel like there's something missing. I'm probably not the only one who feels like there's something missing. And I want to undo all the instruction that I did for more than 3 decades I'm turning on the camera and saying, hey, let's all pay attention to what we're looking at here. So let me see. Yeah, the master list tells about the government buildings with all their documents, and there's some notable empty spots on the master list. Okay. So then another thing, like if you go to especially old world exploration, that gentleman does a very good job. He does present the information that we have about these old world buildings. He uses, for example, Wikipedia. That is one of his sources. And then I'd like to point out that Wikipedia seems a little loose and free. That seems like an audacious statement to make, Breakaway Ray. All right, but let's back up a little bit. I guess I'm going to go long, everybody. So if you're interested in a reading for the second part of the show, remember, when I turn the camera down and we're on the table, that means I'm throwing cards. I still have a little bit more I want to do here about busting up myths and recognizing what's going on around us. But I can't wait to get to your readings. So thanks a lot for being patient with me. All right. So Wikipedia, a few years ago, when Stephen Colbert, the comedian, had a show on Comedy Central, he would play a character that was hilarious. That's when I really enjoyed Stephen Colbert. I don't watch him now that he's got that show on the other network. But in the olden days, he was quite hilarious. There was this one time where he was looking up something on Wikipedia, I think, about elephants. And on Wikipedia, it said that the elephants were endangered. And then using his platform of his program, his facetious persona, he got everyone in his audience to participate in going to Wikipedia and rewriting it, because anybody can do it. And, within a show or two later, he was bragging that he had saved the elephants, because according to Wikipedia, everything said everything was okay. Now, he called attention to the plight of the elephants, which is really important. And he called attention to the fact that even Wikipedia, as stringently as they try to watch things and as educated and professional as the people are over at the Wikipedia board, sometimes a lot of those entries are anonymous and unsubstantiated. So where was I going with that? Yeah, it's the old world buildings. Let's see. So we're talking about old world buildings that they say, for example, were built in the late 1800s, maybe even the mid 1800s. Sometimes they have photos of these buildings. There's lots of things going on with the photos, possibly lots of things wrong with the photos. And then where do all these stories about the old world buildings come from? It's not from Stephen Colbert getting his audience to go to Wikipedia and write those things. Again, a lot of that is unsubstantiated. A lot of it is anonymous. And so some people have already strung these things together. There's a researcher named Guy Anderson. He's probably more eloquent on the subject than me. I'd like to point out, Howdy McCoskey again. There's a link in my description. But what is most likely happening is that there's an artificial intelligence involved. Who else could write all these stories with all the same things that you have to have in the story about the old world buildings? You have to have the fire narrative. You have to have the random inventor guy who's also an architect for 50 other buildings around the country while he's going around on horse and buggy from building site to building site, and no messages at all about, how they move the marble, but then when they give us a picture, there's like a bunch of, it looks like a Tinker Toy set with a bunch of sticks. Somehow they're lifting gigantic heavy stones and columns 17 stories in the air and building those things. We couldn't do that today, not even with our technology today. So now, am I getting too carried away? Breakaway Ray, do you have too much time on your hands to think about this stuff? Has an artificial intelligence been structuring our society since the 1800s? Okay. Who's writing all these things and providing these photos from hundreds of years ago? We say, it's ancient historians, and we have them in history books, and they're in libraries. I don't know. A lot of this stuff seems a little bit flimsy nowadays to me. These are my opinions. Welcome to StarCard Podcast. Thanks for listening. Let me see if I've got all my notes covered here. Yeah. So in other StarCard podcasts and other videos, podcasts on the web, okay, people have talked about the firebombing of Dresden and other instances in which entire populations of cities were let's just say, removed or reprogrammed or put in place. Remember the story of the lizard in the terrarium? Okay. There's stories in the Breakaway society, that civilizations are placed, jump-started, given a start on another planet with a history behind them that explains what they're doing there. And a lot of times their history sounds like ours. We evolved from a creature and we're the top of our evolution right now, and there's nobody else outside. So we just got to focus on our planet and do the best we can. Well, something to think about as we go along, because a lot of these long-held beliefs that are fundamental to our own personalities, they may have been just structured for us to pretend and play along while we're here in amusement land, surface planet Earth. And that led me to the idea that, I think the movie's called Toy Story. Don't remember watching it, but, you have a bunch of toys. How about the Velveteen Rabbit? Any of you school teachers out there, you might know that book. You have a bunch of toys in a toy room. And then when there's no humans around, all the toys discover that they're awake, they're alive, they're conscious, they recognize what's going on, and then they start exploring their environment. So perhaps, ladies and gentlemen, we are like the toys just waking up to find out what we really are and what we're doing here. And, that's almost like saying Santa may not be the person we think he is. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to throw some tarot cards. I'm going to invite the tarot world to comment on this illusory nature of the creation of society around us, even going backwards in time to when these buildings were made and when they were documented. Okay, so we're going to ask the tarot world to throw a little bit more light on that subject. The tarot world has been listening to me the whole time. And then we're going to do audience readings. Okay, I think I've got it all covered. Here we go. All right, tarot world. You heard what I had to say. Oh, we got a little daylight. I almost don't even need the electric lights here. Yeah, we'll go like that for now. Let's do this one. Okay. We'll go to the classic deck here. And we're talking about the Santa metaphor. It's all around us. Do we really have a society, or is that just the society that we have this week? And next week, it's going to be a foreign country theme. So everyone pick a country and bring something good from that country as a treat to share with the group. Don't forget to dress up in a costume. Okay, the Santa metaphor. How long do we have to keep up with illusory parts of our society? Isn't there like a gentle way where we can make a transition to benefit everyone, even the people who can't let go of the old illusions? Thank you, Tarot World, for sharing your wisdom with me and our audience. The Santa metaphor. Recognizing illusions. Gently moving towards the truth in a positive way. Slowly, day by day. Here we go, everybody. All right. I don't think I need to prove anything. If you've been tuning in the STARCARD podcast, you know that there's magic every time we throw the tarot cards. Look, everybody, we were talking about breaking down things that don't serve us anymore. The first card we got was the Tower card. Let's read what it says on the Tower card. Sudden change, revelation, awakening, sudden insight. Wow. Eight of Pentacles. The world might be collapsing all around us with the Tower card, but meanwhile, we still got to go to work. But there's more to it than that, because now that we have this awareness, we have to work at it. So let's read what it says on the Eight of Pentacles. Diligence, passion, high standards. And it even says repetitive tasks. Well, okay, so you expected a former school teacher. I'm not exactly a former school teacher. I'm still a school teacher, but you would expect a school teacher to say, repetitive tasks, that's part of life, okay? You can't be fussy and saying, I don't wanna, okay? I want to remind everyone that no one ever got good at piano when they didn't practice the lessons between the piano teacher's visits, right? You know, the piano teacher teaches you one day, your job is to work at it so that you're ready for the next lesson. You don't get better if you don't work at it. So are there going to be repetitive tasks? Yes. Are we going to have to start from scratch? Most people tuning in to StarCard podcast are already starting from scratch, like every day or every 2 weeks. All right, next up. Wow. One way to work hard at it is to turn inward and do some soul searching. What does what was it? Was it Ben Kenobi? You know, search your feelings. You know it to be true. Oh, wait, that was the Emperor telling Darth Vader. I guess they use that line over and over again in Star Wars movies, right? Okay, turn inward. Okay, wow, as much as you can imagine, there's a lot more we can learn, apparently, if we turn inward. We're not going to learn it from the propaganda we get in the media and the false stories we get in all of our, anyway. And the Seven of Wands says it is going to be quite a challenge. So let's look at the message again, okay? We're breaking down the illusions of civilization while we work. We're still going to have to work at it, and we are going to have to rebuild things. And how are we going to do it? As much as we can imagine, we're going to have to turn inward. We can learn a lot more about ourselves that's being hidden from us. We're not going to learn it in books. And yeah, it's going to be a challenge. All right, I'm with you, Tarot World. I bet that this is going to be some kind of helpful, inspirational message. Nice. You guys didn't even see me smile. That was like one of the biggest smiles I had all week. Check it out. We have the Three of Wands and the Queen of Swords. So the Three of Wands talks about expansion. Okay, so let me read to you what it says on the Three of Wands card. Preparation, progress, foresight, enterprise, and expansion. Now, another wonderful thing about this card is that it gives the message of luck is where preparation meets opportunity, which has been one of my maxims since I was a little kid. I had a little refrigerator magnet that I kept, and it had that message on there. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. You want to get lucky? Well, prepare for that opportunity. And then when it rolls your way, you're going to be the one that's ready. So this card, like the Star card, is one of those cards that makes me think of myself. And then here's the Queen of Swords. Let's read what it says. It says, unbiased judgment, independent, clear boundaries, direct communication. Okay, unbiased judgment, right? It's the truth. So really, when I saw these two cards, the first message I got was, well, because the Queen of Swords always tells me, you were right. The Three of Wands is Breakaway Ray. Yeah, you're going to have to break things down. Now is the time for it to happen. Keep working at it. It's going to take some work. It's not going to happen magically. As much as you can imagine, turn inward because it's going to be a challenge. Breakaway Ray is right. And we do need to expand. That is also true. Thank you, Tarot World, for making me look good. On a Sunday morning. Nice. All right, so I am all done with my presentation. Wow, everybody. I went a little longer than usual. Thanks for being patient. We're going to get right to your readings. Look at what just popped out for us. All right. Come upstairs and say hi to people in the chat, and then we'll bust out name tags and get some readings done. All right. Hi, Salama. Thanks for joining us again. Hi, Kimberly Bamford. Thanks for tuning in again. Hi, Missing Time 420. Thanks for coming, Jason. Let's see. Hey, Heavenly Cups. Nice to see you. Who have I got? Oh, hey, Salama is saying it is Sunday evening in East Africa. I can't tell you how excited that makes me that we have friends in Africa hanging out with us at StarCard Podcast. This is so exciting. Never could have happened like a few years ago, right? Thank you so much, Salama. I know we have other friends out there in Africa too. Let's see. I'm going to get your name tags out. Remember, I've got a bunch of snowmen with some repeat customers here, so let's bust them out. Kimberly Bamford, Heavenly Cups. There's Salamas. Let's see. I'm not sure I see anybody else. Okay, and then now I want to make sure that I've got everyone who wants a reading. I'm gonna have to get a pen for this. All right. So now I'm checking for messages. When you request a reading and you put it in all capital letters, it stands out right away. But I'm going to do my best. Otherwise, I'm just going to throw. So I see Kimberly Bamford wants the neon deck. Got it. Okay. Oh, Danica's here. Hi, Danica. Hi, Danica. Julia. Hi, Julia. You want the neon deck also? Right. Let me get your person out. You got a person and a snow person and a schoolhouse. There we go, Julia. We'll throw your schoolhouse right over there with Kimberly's. Let's see. Anyone? Hey, Izzy's here. Hi, Izzy. I recognize your hands. Danica, you would like a reading with the classic deck. I thought I had a snow person for Danica. There we go. Oh, there's more than one Danica, isn't there? Now I see what's going on. Hey, Danica, there's also someone named Danny, and then I have someone in my life named Danica, and sometimes we call her Danny. So I got a little confused. Let's get Danica Crabtree a schoolhouse. And Danica, she wanted the classic deck. Okay. Oh, all right. I wonder if I'm missing anybody. Oh, and Salama, a general reading for next week. Okay. So, hey, everybody. These are the ones I have. Oh, I see Missing Time 420's message. Don't be shy, Jason. If I could throw cards for you, I'd be happy to. So I have Kimberly and Julia who want the neon deck. I got Danica who wants the classic deck. Salama who wants a week's prognostication. And then I saw Heavenly Cups. Oh, and she wants the Robin Wood deck. And I got that written down. Okay, I'll put that over there. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start with Salama and Danica because I'm going to use the classic deck with all the words, get as much information as I can from the words. All right, so let's start with Salama, and then I'll go to Danica. Thanks, everybody. Let's go downstairs. Great. By the way, I'm doing good on time. All right, and let's move this over here for a moment. All right, Salama, the week's prognostication. Check this out. All right, I was getting ready to shuffle for you, Salama, and I parted the decks, and look what just showed up again, the Lover's card. The Lover's card talks about not just communication with the spirit world, but also like the spirit world is here with us right now. And I want to emphasize that because the Knight of Cups shows up, and he's the knight in shining armor. Now, you're tuned in to StarCard Podcast. You know I'm going to try to make things as positive as possible. And then, maybe we can average out, the actual dynamics of the world with this high, lofty, praiseworthy, positive message. And maybe we could raise the average a little bit. But already the tarot world's trying to help us out, Salama. Okay? We're thinking positive here. The spirit world's with us. It's the knight in shining armor. But also, God helps those who help themselves. And that reminds me, because I always have to push myself. I feel like we might share some things in common. It's hard in moments of repose when you think about how hard one worked and where things diverged and maybe went a direction we didn't expect. But then just moving and acting and making decisions and even just keeping busy, okay, eventually the opportunities come your way. There can't be opportunities if we don't create any, or we don't create a new path to go look. I'm talking to myself pretty much right now. You know, I'm trying to inspire myself too, Salama. But let's take a look. These cards are, like we mentioned earlier, a week's prognostication for you. What's going on next week? None of the things I talk about at StarCard Podcast have a lot to do with all my credentials and training. I'm not a trained counselor. I'm not a life coach. I could barely get my own life together. But it looks like I got it together on camera. I got everybody fooled. Here we go, Salama. Yay. The 6 of Pentacles, giving and receiving. There might be giving and receiving. This might be another repetition of that notion I just had of participating, making energies happen, you know, getting the energies rolling. Also, it does talk about getting paid. I'm getting my hopes up here, right? For both of us. Yay. The 9 of Cups is the wish come true card. I mean, we're here to get our hopes up, Salama. So for the time you're watching StarCard Podcast, you're allowed to get your hopes up. You're going to get paid. It's a wish come true. Let's read about the 9 of Cups. Wish come true, contentment, satisfaction, emotional stability, luxury, gratitude. Well, if this is what we're looking for this week, maybe that's what we're going to find. How about some 3 of Cups? There's a celebration, and you're not celebrating by yourself. You got friends with you. Let's read about the 3 of Cups. Celebration, friendship, collaboration, creativity, right? Creativity, community, and happiness. What I was doing is I was examining the vegetation on the ground there. Those are like gourds and pumpkins that are ready for harvest. That might be what they're celebrating, their harvest. This says yes in the corner. This says yes in the corner. This says yes in the corner. Oh, yay, Salama. It's the Fool card. It's a new beginning. This says yes in the corner. The Fool, new beginnings, possibilities, innocence, spontaneous optimism, trust in life, blind faith, adventure, opportunity, and pleasure. Ouch. And then the 3 of Swords shows up, which talks about heartache. Now, this is supposed to be for the week coming up. Remember that there's always going to be this. I think we got a firm understanding on the 3 of Swords card there. Okay. The King of Swords shows up. The 2 of Swords shows up. Oh, nice. And then the 4 of Wands shows up. So this week, get ready to cycle some energies. It's going to be a wish come true. There'll be cause for celebration as you start your new path. There's probably some heartache, and we're going to have to get around to start the new story, where you got the King of Swords who presents disciplined, honest, mental clarity and authority. Then you're at your crossroads in your new life. You have all the tools you need. You just don't have all the information yet, but it looks promising because it finishes with the 4 of Wands, the homecoming card. The 4 of Wands, celebration, joy, harmony, marriage, home, community, and homecoming. Celebration, joy, community. Okay, and I know that you are a community person, having worked for the UN. It feels like that's got to be a bridge. That's got to be some kind of connection there. And I'd like to point out, yes, 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 yes. That one doesn't have it. This one has a maybe because it's a crossroads card. And then there's another yes. So there's a lot of yeses this week, according to the tarot card, Salama. Thanks for inviting me to read. As always, we wish you a lot of luck. Okay. I saw Stephanie Clark in the... there we go. Yeah. Hi, Stephanie Clark. Let me give these a toss real quick. So we'll take care of Danica, but I want to make sure I got Stephanie Clark's ready. So let me go through here and see if I can find Stephanie Clark's snow person. I know I did one for her. There we go. Hey, Stephanie. Right, you got the the snow person who was on the Philadelphia experiment and you got melted into the wall. Okay, so but I understand it's your birthday. I'm gonna set this aside for right now and make sure that we take care of you. All right. But we're gonna take care of Danica now with the classic deck. I don't think Danica had a specific question. We're just giving you a reading. Here we go. These cards are for Danica. Thanks a lot, Tarot World. I know you know we're all having fun checking out these fun cards. Wow, Danica, that one just popped out there. I want to point out that according to you, it's reversed. So that part's important. These cards are for Danica. Let's put this over here. Let's get Salama over there. Here we go, Danica. Yeah, what's going on with that guy? These cards are for Danica Crabtree. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. So the Five of Cups card showed up and it flopped out in reverse for you. You know I would turn it upside down anyway. But when I see the Five of Cups card, sometimes it reminds me of mortality. But also it makes me think that, you know, someone's focusing on the negative when they could just make a decision, turn that energy around, pick up the 2 cups that are still standing, go cross that bridge and go to the party. But anyway, we did see this upside down when it flopped out. So I'll read it in reverse. The Five of Cups reverse. Acceptance, moving on, finding peace, self-forgiveness. Let's see the rest of the cards, Danica. The Hierophant, the Learned Man, social acceptance. Ooh. Temperance, balance. Let's read about the Temperance card. Balance, harmony, moderation, patience, being sensible, purpose, finding meaning. Nice. Ace of Pentacles, abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new career or financial opportunity, new venture, prosperity. Great. You got a Six of Pentacles also. Giving, receiving, sharing wealth, generosity, and charity. Wow. We saw the Seven of Wands before in the same position. The Seven of Wands, challenge, competition, protection, perseverance or perseverance, defense, maintaining control. From what we've learned and experienced, we can approach new opportunities with balance, with our emotions contained and channeled in the right way. Therefore, we can expend our energy in such a way as it profits everyone, no matter what the challenge is. So in spite of disappointments, which we're going to move on from, we're going to keep working at it and have a view for the long term, says the Seven of Pentacles. And that's because it's the right way to go. It's the truth, says the Ace of Swords. Hey, Danica, thanks for inviting me to read. I hope it all works out for you. I mean, I obviously, I never know how close my readings are for what's going on with everyone. But it was still a fun, entertaining story, and I try to inspire people. Thanks a lot, Danica. It's inspiring for me to have you here. All right, next up. Oh, it's the birthday girl. Happy birthday, Stephanie. I'm going to throw you some tarot cards on your birthday. I want to say happy birthday to anyone who has a birthday today. I believe we have another STARCARD listener, subscriber who has a birthday today. I want to say happy birthday to her. All right, but anyway, Stephanie Clark, we're going to throw you some birthday cards. Shall we? Let's go back downstairs. Okay. Here we go. We're going to throw some cards for Stephanie. I'm going to go to the Robin Wood deck. And then we'll take care of Heaven and Cups next. Hey, thank you for your comment, Danica. Thank you, Julia. Thanks, everyone, for participating. All right, what a great birthday. Thanks for inviting us to your party, Stephanie. This one popped out for you. That's the 10 of Pentacles. That's a good one for the birthday. Hey, everyone's commenting on my birthday crown. So you can imagine in the classroom, you know, on a birthday, I'd make one for the student whose birthday it is, and they'd wear it all day. And speaking of paper crowns, I used to work at Burger King, and I used to get the crowns all the time. They were so cool. Doesn't matter how old you are. It's still fun wearing the crown. All right, anyway, happy birthday, Stephanie. Let's have a birthday message. The 10 of Pentacles, I'm going to go right to the book. That might be like the most important part. On your birthday, this is great. 10 of Pentacles, you have created wealth, financial security, and long-term success. You have built solid foundations and security and now feel happiness in all areas of life. You may have domestic bliss, a lasting career, or a business empire, or you may have reached relationship milestones and may be settling down. You know, on Italian Americans, when they wish someone happy birthday, they say cent'anni, meaning, you know, live for 100 years, live till you're 100. So maybe this is the tarot world, you know, wishing you wealth and health and a long, happy life on your birthday. Let's check out the rest of the cards. Wow, I'm glad we're getting this one over with. It's the 5 of Swords. It's the abusive bully guys. But then, yay, the King of Wands shows up. He overcomes all obstacles. He sees the big picture. Oh, geez. It's the 9 of Swords. I can't sleep. I'm anxious. Something's on my mind. Yay. I hope this is on your mind. You're watching Star Card Podcast on your birthday, Stephanie. I'm going to read about the Star Card. The Star. You are likely to find yourself feeling inspired on your birthday. You have renewed hope and faith and a sense of being truly blessed by the universe. You are entering a peaceful, loving phase in your life, filled with calm energy and personal growth. Yeah. Got it. I see what's going on here. Hang on. Yay. And then, hey, it's the 6 of Wands. This is public recognition. Again, we're all celebrating your birthday as you ride the horse going by. Okay. Our time's tough sometimes. Sometimes things aren't always fun. Well, keep your eye on the big picture. Don't be anxious because it's your birthday and you could be inspired today, and we're all celebrating how awesome you are, Stephanie. So don't forget that the tarot world is wishing you a long, healthy, happy, wealthy life. And here are a couple of presents. You have the Judgment card. The Judgment card talks about swapping out old for new energies, right? The last year is gone. Welcome to your new birth year. And the Knight of Cups is the knight in shining armor. Wow, what a birthday reading. I'm glad it's on film. Happy birthday, Stephanie. Thanks a lot. I'm going to shuffle these cards. And then we're going to take care of Heavenly Cups because she wanted the Robin Hood deck also. Here you go, Heavenly Cups. Wow, Stephanie Clark, I just saw your message that your mom is going to be 100 years old this year. That's so exciting. I had a centenarian in my family too. I know you heard about it. Cool. All right, so let's throw some cards for Heavenly Cups. It's Star Card Podcast, your intercontinental tarot card throwing center. Okay, so here we go. Heavenly Cups. I hear Heavenly Cups is getting her own tarot deck pretty soon. That's going to be exciting. These cards are for Heavenly Cups. Look at how much fun we're having on a Sunday morning. Who's making the sauce? Did someone start the sauce yet? You need to put the meatballs in soon so they're ready by lunchtime. Here we go, Heavenly Cups. It's the Queen of Cups. I'm going to let you look at that image a little bit there. Check her out. I'm going to read about the Queen of Cups. Right, every time I read these things, I learn more about it. I understand it better. I'm still teaching myself. I've only been doing this since March. Yeah, we're coming up on a year, Ray. Queen of Cups, emotional stability, femininity, love and warmth surround you. There might be a mature female in your life who is supportive and caring towards you, or you might be a sensitive, caring, nurturing soul yourself. An empath or a good mother, you are intuitive. Yeah, we know that. In the flow, a daydreamer, a psychic, we know that too, and a good listener, and I know that. I know that because Heavenly Cups has watched a lot of StarCard podcast videos. To put it in my words, she really has done her homework. Hey, here's the Four of Swords, reminding you to relax and meditate. Wow, you got the Lover's card. So this sounds like an actual dynamic that's taking place. Hang on. I mean, I keep hearing about guidelines and things. So, I got to get the deck where the Lover's card, those guys are wearing bathing suits or something. Okay, and then you have the King of Cups showing up. What a great leader. And then you have the Seven of Cups, which is all these opportunities. So we're going to read to you about the King of Cups, and then we'll string that story together for you. The King of Cups. You are emotionally balanced, wise, compassionate, calm, and diplomatic. You are loyal, charming, and a good listener. I think we just said that before too, didn't we? You would make a great spiritual guide or counselor. This is what it says in the book, Heavenly Cups. Okay. Again, it says you would make a great spiritual guide or a counselor. You have the balance between intellect and emotions and a deeper knowledge and awareness of yourself. Okay. So the Queen of Cups, it's a picture of you. And then there's the King of Cups on the other side. The Queen, it's a picture of you meditating, getting in touch with the spirit world, okay? Because they need you to be a guide, and there's a bunch of opportunities waiting for you. They're not all good opportunities, Heavenly Cups. Not all these cups are heavenly, okay? Some of them are not good, but you'll know which ones are good. So don't be anxious. Let's turn the Nine of Swords upside down. Don't be anxious and sleepless. Be positive and optimistic like the Page of Wands, who has, we'll read about the Page of Wands because that's what's really going on here, Heavenly Cups. The Page of Wands. You feel fresh, cheerful, childlike, and full of energy, right? That's the opposite of the Nine of Swords. Okay. You are having bright ideas and new exciting plans. You are being creative, free thinking, and fearless. As I say, you should be. You are finding your passion, making discoveries, investments, or advancements in life. Well done, Heavenly Cups. Thanks for inviting me to read. Thanks for letting everyone at StarCard Podcast share in your adventures. And look at this. I covered up the Lovers with the Nine of Cups, and that's the Wish Come True card. All right. Way to go, Heavenly Cups. We'll give these a toss and go to our next contestant. Ooh, Heavenly Cups. There's the Sun card. Everything's going to be cool. Woohoo! All right. I think I'm moving on to Kimberly Bamford and Julia, who want the Neon deck. We'll do Julia first. How about some unboxing? If there's anybody who wanted another reading, now would be the time to drop the message in. But in the meantime, I'm going to go throw some cards for Julia here from the Neon deck. Let's see. Does it look better with this? All right, let's try that, Julia. Here we go. Hey, Tarot World. These have been some really wonderful messages today. Thank you very much for making all my friends happy, giving them a positive place to start their work week. I know you got one for Julia out in the UK. Here is a message for Julia out in the UK. Wow. Thank you for a positive, fun message for Julia. These cards are for Julia. All right, Julia, it's all for entertainment purposes only. Let's get entertained. All right, I think I got the light just the way I need it. Here we go. First up, the Chariot. Did this card show up last time for you? Keep it going. Keep moving. Should I read it from the book? The Chariot. You are confident and have the drive to overcome obstacles. That is true. Moving forward in a positive direction. You are now channeling your inner power with a fierce dedication to bring your goals to fruition. That is true. Keep going on, and through hard work and commitment, you will succeed. I'm sure that is true. Did the tarot world pick the exact card for you today? That was awesome. Who's this? It's the Page of Pentacles. Great. Good looking card. Why don't we read about the Page of Pentacles? The Page of Pentacles. Good news is coming to you in earthly matters such as money, business, education, career, property, or health. Be inspired, Julia. You are now setting goals, laying foundations, developing a plan, manifesting. You are ambitious and diligent. You decide what you want and you go for it and have excellent future prospects. This is so hilarious because I happen to know Julia, and I really feel like these cards do characterize her. So let's see what else is going on with Julia. The Death card shows up. That is really dramatic imagery with the horse's hooves on fire. The Death card indicates endings, beginnings, and changes and transformations. The 10 of Pentacles shows up, talks about long-term happiness, domestic bliss. Congratulations. And then the Page of Wands shows up, and we might as well read about the Page of Wands. All these really sound positive and a lot like we're talking about Julia. The Page of Wands. You feel fresh, cheerful, childlike, and full of energy. You are having bright ideas and new exciting plans. You are being creative, free-thinking, and fearless, as any podcaster should be. Way to go. You are finding your passion, making discoveries, investments, or advancements in life. Well done. All right, we're not done, though. We still have 2 more cards for you, Julia. It's the Wheel of Fortune and the 7 of Pentacles. All we ever hear from Breakaway Ray is that there's always hard work. The 7 of Pentacles talks about hard work, but look at what you're cultivating. You're really making those pentacles grow. It's going to be worth it. You know, you're going to win the prize at the pumpkin contest. And the Wheel of Fortune talks about luck, but it also talks about fate and destiny. So I'm suggesting that these cards might be saying, you know, this is your path. You know, look, the guy knows his path. He knows the ground he's on. And this card is saying, you know, this is, you're on the right path is the short story. So, you know, keep going with what you're doing. There's going to be a change, and it's going to involve long-term success. And you're going to be holding a light to others, as you already are, right? And you know you are, because this is your path. Hey, Julia, I hope that worked for you. Thank you for inviting me to read. And now we'll go to Kimberly Bamford. Here we go, Kimberly. I think Kimberly Bamford is my last one. I'm not seeing any other requests. I appreciate everyone inviting me to read. Thanks a lot. All right, these cards are for Kimberly Bamford. So many great keyboard warriors out there. Thanks for visiting StarCard Podcast. I know you have lots of choices. Oh, Puck Elf, I'm happy to see you. Would you like a card? I'm going to throw you a card. Sure. All right. So anyway, we'll take care of Kimberly Bamford here, and then we'll throw some cards for Elf. Great. The 2 of Swords, Kimberly Bamford. We're at a crossroads. We're ready to make a decision. We don't have all the information yet. The High Priestess suggests that the information you might need is going to come from the spirit world, or maybe even that you could manipulate it through the spirit world. Did I say maybe? You absolutely can. You can conjure things to come out the way you want, as long as you float everyone's boat. We should see the Magician's card, if that's true. Well, here's the Hierophant. He's showing up for everybody. This is a learned man and social acceptance. The Ace of Swords talks about the truth and mental clarity. Oh, we're going to learn something. It's going to be very clear. Yeah, we're looking for information. We're looking for information for some decision. We're going to look inward. We're going to learn exactly what's going on. And then the Nine of Cups says it's going to be a wish come true. We're going to have all the information we need to make the right decision. I like the way that story's playing out. And then you have, wow, the Empress and the Strength card. Look at you go. Maybe you are creating some kind of magic. Oh, do we have to make some decision? I'm going to go meditate and figure out what's going on. And then once I know, we're all going to be styling, says the Empress card with the exclamation point called the Strength card. Hey, that was kind of easy, Kimberly. I hope it works out for you. Thank you very much for, again, inviting me to read. All right, Puck Elf. You did put an S on the word card, I think. There's a lot of writing going on. So instead of a one card throw, I think you want more than one. All right, it says cards, please. I see it. So let's get you some cards. Why not? I've been shuffling the neon deck. Well, let's keep it going. Here we go. How about some cards for Puck Elf, please? I know the tarot world knows what Puck Elf needs or wants to hear. And Puck Elf figures out the cards better than I do. He knows what's going on. You don't even need that many, usually. Well, tell you what, Puck Elf. Yeah, I try. Right on, Puck Elf. More cards are not great as far as I'm concerned for Puck Elf. One card is one thing, but I was thinking the whole time, let's throw 3. Gives us a little bit to work with, and we'll string together a message. All right, Puck Elf, here we go. The 6 of Cups. Happy memories, creating happy memories. The 5 of Cups, which are not happy memories. It's the disappointment card. We got both things going on. It's a full, rich life. The full pie graph is in action. One spectrum of the emotions to the other. And then the Queen of Wands the Queen of Wands shows up with her zest for life attitude. She's courageous and determined, and she has a zest for life. She is always thriving. So while the yin and yang of all these emotions is always in play and circling and doing all that stuff, Puck Elf marches forward like the Queen of Wands, or if it was me, looking for the Queen of Wands, having a zest for life, enjoying every moment. Way to go, Puck Elf. Thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it. Yay, good. All right, I saw your message about the Queen of Wands. Tell her I said hello. Sweet, Puck Elf. Thank you. I don't think I've got anybody else. Wow, is this going to be the best hour and a half of my day? Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope you have a great week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You may not see me tomorrow, but I'm going to try to come out as often as I can. Keep up the good work, everybody. I appreciate it so much. Have a good one.